Okay, now look, this video is going to be about like how to proclaim sovereignty for your kids. Now, claiming sovereignty for kids or children or babies or unborn children is kind of 100% the same. Now, the loophole is when a lot of you guys who are pregnant with like newborns and everything like that, when the baby comes in this world, it's other remedies to use instead of getting the baby a traditional social security number or trying to get a child like, a birth certificate and everything like that. What the Department of State have is something called certified birth, right? Or like certified birth certificate. So pretty much you are recording a birth. So recording a child's birth within a particular state doesn't make them subjected to the state jurisdiction, or it doesn't make them registered, right? Because when you get a birth certificate, it's registered by the state. But if you get a certificate of birth from the State Department, it's not a birth certificate, and the child's not registered by the state, and it still can be recognized. Now, the same process to get a child sovereign is the same process you would get an adult sovereign. So my son, for instance, right, he got a passport without a social security number.
Excuse me, sir, but what in the doohickey are you talking about? Why are you lying to people? There is no way for you to get a passport without providing a social security number. Like, what are you talking about? Am I to believe what you are saying? No.
But we went through a whole long ass loophole. So after we filed for my son, because he had a birth certificate in the state, the Department of State sent us back a letter to declare under penalty of perjury that my son never received a social. So I signed it, sent it back off. They gave him a birth certificate after like 5 months or so. So children is the best when it comes to like changing their status, because if they not born yet or anything like that, you can actually correct their status and have them right before they even come into this world. You can get them an EIN number to establish like as a social security number. You can get them personal credit and all that stuff, build them up, but they don't have to use a social security number, nor do they have to be subjected to the federal government. You gonna stay in the private, and you also want your kids to stay in the private. Many people ask me how do they go about it if their kids already have a birth certificate or a social security number. Well, it'd be the same process as we do, right? We U.S. citizens that we want to convert over to being a non-citizen national. So you would get a passport, and you're going to fill it out as a non-citizen national, and you're going to make sure your kids have it. Whether they 10, 12, 13, you can get them those same cards that can place them on the do not detain list as well. So the same way it pops up on us where it say restricted, do not detain or arrest this individual based off this notice, it will also be on your kids' background as well. So see if they playing in the park or they walking around and say the police want to harass them, they're going to carry that card on them everywhere they go. Make sure it's the passport card because it's way more convenient. It can be used as an ID in case the police stop them or they ever get in any sort of trouble, and they know that the kids is under a different jurisdiction. Then the police will know, like, we can't bother them. So I'm going.
In short, what this man is teaching is how to ruin your child's life. Like, what are you talking about, sir? I just can't even believe that there are people out here that see this man's videos and think like, wow, he's kicking some truth. Let me contact him. Let me pay the consultation fee and contact this man. I can't believe people actually fall for this nonsense. Nothing he said made sense. Nothing he said is legitimate. Like this is wow. He's talking about passport cards and do not detain lists. So he believes that he's explained that he can provide a service to where he can teach you how to get a passport card without a social security number, which we know is fraud, because to get a passport, you have to prove citizenship. You have to send them your birth certificate and social security card. And he's also saying not to register your baby by getting a birth certificate. Well, sir, if your child is born in a hospital, then there's no way you're going to leave out of that hospital without registering the baby and signing the paperwork to get a social security card and a birth certificate. There's no way a hospital will let you leave. So what are you advocating, that these people have home births? Because that is the only way what you're saying would ever come into play. And the whole, instead of getting your child, you're gonna get your unborn child an EIN number. An EIN number is for businesses. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You are talking a bunch of foolishness. Please, I beg anybody that comes across this video, do not listen to this man. He is trying to teach you criminal activity, and that activity will ruin your life. And now he's taking it a step further by teaching you how to ruin your poor innocent child's life. This right here is pure madness.
Okay, now look, check it out. This video is going to be about how can people discharge their criminal cases. So a lot of people who are in jail right now, whether it be weed cases, gun cases, whether you fighting travel out of license or whatever, and etc. Right? This video going to be about how to discharge cases. Now, a lot of people on YouTube, they'll tell y'all to use the acceptance letter or use cancellation of debt, or they'll try to say settle the matter before the prosecution. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's one secret that's going to be the hard truth. It's going to take the people to get the people free. And I'm going to say this again. It's going to take the people to get the people free. A trial by jury was one of the best things that's kept secrets in America, because as long as we have a trial by jury, the people can override that same authority that tried to entrap us, right? So I advise a lot of people to take a lot of their criminal cases to trial. I advise a lot of people to represent themselves. In order to represent yourself, you're going to have to set up a forerunner hearing, because a lot of people don't even know that when people go into court and they want to make arguments right in front of the tribunal, they haven't even established on whether or not they're going to be representing themselves. In every procedure, it's something called a forerunner hearing. That has to be scheduled with the court. So when you have a forerunner hearing, the court is pretty much going to determine, are you competent enough to represent yourself to stand trial? And if you are competent enough, you're able to go to trial by jury. Now, a lot of tricks and trades is what the prosecution is going to do. But one thing I learned was to be silent. Never let them know every move that you're about to make. Move in secrecy. So the moment when it's time to go to trial, you'll surprise them with every constitutional claim. The same way to make the state make the claims, you can also make a counterclaim that contradicts exactly what the state is talking about, or whatever the state trying to argue. Because when people go into court and they want to challenge the Constitution, the judge is not going to help you. These are all administrative courts. They violate their oath of office. They violate their damn administrative oath. They don't give a damn about nothing, because they looked at you like a ward of the state. Why? Because you contract with them and you are in their courtroom. So they perceive and presume for them to have jurisdiction over you. So they look at you like they got jurisdiction. Why would they look at you any different? And it doesn't matter how you carry yourself in the courtroom. At the end of the day, like I said, it is going to take the people to free the people, nobody else. So y'all think hard on that. So any of you guys who getting summons to go to court, you look at the elements of the Constitution to determine the case. You don't look at what the state statute has to say. So like I said, it's going to take the people to free the people. I'm out.
More bad advice from this scammer. Now he's advising individuals that get into legal issues to represent themselves, as if lawyers aren't competent enough to do that. Lawyers go to school and study law for up to 8 years. You think some random Joe Schmo that gets into some type of legal issues and starts listening to your videos and whatever other videos on YouTube will be competent enough to represent themselves in the court of law? You're giving people bad advice. You are sending people on the road straight to jail. Do not listen to this man. If you get into any type of legal issues, best believe a lawyer is your best bet. Don't listen to this guy right here.
Okay, y'all, now look at this. Now, a lot of people probably gonna be mad at me or disagree with me, right? But check this out. When people use the terminology trust or accessing funds directly from a trust account, or pretty much you are pulling from your trust, that's not necessarily accurate. Because what people fail to realize is that Americans who come from this country and you ever establish a social security number and anything like that with the federal government, or you have any entities that's establishing, within the state, and you have an EIN with the government, you have an unlimited amount of credit. And an unlimited amount of credit give you the power to do business and transact with anybody unlimited. And there's no limitation on the amount of money that a person can acquire. So look at it like this. Jeff Bezos got $300 billion. That's $300 billion in debt. So if you got $300 billion in debt and everybody around the world is telling you that your bonds is only limited to $2 to $3 million, that's false. So understand how the tax system work and understand how corporations work, and you will have a better understanding when realizing that you have an unlimited amount of credit. There is no limit to the amount of credit that you can use. There is no limit to the amount of credit that you can apply for. There's no limit to the amount of credit that you can also discharge as well. So understand this. Your social security number, your employer identification number give you an unlimited right to transact, to do business, and have an extended loan amount of credit with no limitation. So we're going to cut out and remove the ideal of I'm getting money from my trust. I'm getting money from my trust as if your trust is a bank account. We are not getting money from our trust. We're utilizing the social security number, and the social security number has an unlimited amount of credit. So when people be like, I'm trying to get my trust, your trust is already here. Every time you go to damn Walmart and they ask you for your credit and trying to find out your credit, that's your trust. That's the trust y'all talking about, because that's the only thing y'all are utilizing. Because you trying to get money from a birth certificate, money from the back of your social security card. They telling y'all all these things, but the whole time the trust is right in y'all face. Just open y'all eyes and understand what I'm talking about.
Wow. It is an absolute shame that this man has children. He is sitting here talking a bunch of psycho-babble nonsense while his kids are in the car with him, not realizing that children that young are like sponges. They absorb and watch everything you say and do. So the mere fact that this man is talking complete foolishness in front of his kids is a disservice to his kids. His kids are going to pick up on that nonsense that he's talking and be out in the world lost. I feel sorry for those children. Those children need to be taken from him ASAP.